Are you prepared? Emergency management right after this.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome to Community Watch. Greg,
Doug,
how are you?
you prepared? You know, you got what you need?
I am somewhat prepared.
I am not.
No.
And I was a scout too. And that's always be prepared, you know. I'm just taking it for granted that people like Tim take care of everything for us, yeah.
Well, that's interesting because, you know, we're coming up on storm season.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's already started, I guess, but that's something I want to talk to our guest about today.
We're good.
And we're going to be talking about emergency management. Tim Harrington's going to be joining us, and we're going to find out a little bit about his position and a little bit about him, but also some particulars about.
Yeah. Well, I want to know, I watch some of those shows sometimes where you see the advertisement and people have bunkers and they have year supply of food and water.
Yeah.
Do I need all of that? I mean, do I need
A
a
year.
bunker?
If
or?
you need a year's supply, then something horrible has happened. But
I'll ask the expert.
yeah. Anyway, we have a really interesting guest with us today. We'll be back after this. He will join us. So do not go away.
I'm transferring to the University of West Georgia.
Columbia University.
Kennesaw State,
UGA, Loyola University in Chicago,
Grambling State,
Shorter University. I'm going to Greensboro College, and we all got our start at Georgia Highlands.
No matter where your educational journey takes you, you can get your start at Georgia Highlands College. Georgia Highlands College. Enroll, engage, excel.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We're very happy to have with us today Tim Harrington, who is the Director of Emergency Management for Floyd County. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
So tell us a little bit about the responsibilities of your position. What are you directing exactly?
Basically what emergency management does is we actually are a resource in the event that we have a significant event here in Floyd County. Then we would act as a go-between for local government to state government and on to federal government. So any resources that we need here that we don't have in the event of a significant emergency, say if we run out of specific equipment that we need, then I would in turn contact the state and let them know that we need this particular piece of equipment, and then they would try and locate it for us. And then we would coordinate having that piece of equipment or operator or whatever sent to this area to assist us with our emergencies.
And how did you get into this?
It's funny because I actually started as a volunteer.
Yeah.
And I was a rescue volunteer for about 2 years. And I had an opportunity to, I was initially hired in as the administrative assistant for our new director at the time, Scotty Hancock, who had taken over after Hugh Atkins had passed away. So I came in as his administrative assistant, and it didn't take long for us to realize that we really didn't need an administrative assistant. We needed an extra hand. So we were able to go back and talk with the administration, and they decided to change my designation from administrative assistant to deputy director. And that was 11 years ago, and been doing it ever since.
So you volunteered yourself into a career.
Yes, I did.
That's great. I like that.
You hear about that, but you don't have to meet nobody that actually done it, you know. You hear people say, I volunteered and then one day. Okay.
No, it's just like, you start doing something and you prove yourself so important to the operation that they cannot afford to be without you. That's a great story.
You know, when I was thinking, we was talking, so really, because I really didn't know truly what your job was. So I knew the title, but exactly what y'all did. So really you more, I guess, deal in logistics. You know, whatever we need here, so I guess the local fire department, the police department, whatever, they are free to do what they need to be doing or helping, I guess.
Exactly.
And then therefore they don't have to worry about where are we gonna get this from or where is it coming from.
They just let me know if there's a need for it, and then I would go ahead and start making calls to get the whatever specific piece of equipment or whatever located, or identified, then located, and then get it brought to this area. And that's just a thumbnail of what emergency management does, because it goes off into a lot of different things. We also manage the emergency plans for the community as well. And that's the plans for our daycares, nursing homes, and also the school system. And then our plans that we have here in Floyd County with debris management and hazardous material contingency plans. We're currently getting ready to start updating our hazard mitigation plan.
So let me ask you, in today's society with the threat of, suicide bombers, attacks, and now even with more local homegrown terrorists, I guess, y'all like a constant state of alert.
Yes.
Almost, because you never know nowadays. I mean, when you see on the TV all the time, somebody was arrested for a plot. So we're great that they captured them before, but you have to be prepared.
Yes.
Before that happens.
You do, and we get a lot of intel from the federal government through our local, our state government, which is Georgia Emergency Management Agency, and then they filter it out to all the local jurisdictions, and then we in turn pass that emergency management. We in turn pass that information along to our law enforcement and fire, just so they'll be aware of certain things to look for. And then we have to make reports. So, like if we have fires or any type of hazardous material releases or spills or anything like that, then we have to send up a report to the Georgia Emergency Management Agency to let them know what's transpiring here at the local level.
I would think too, and I have a lot of, actually I have just a whole show's worth of weather-related questions for you, but I would think it would be, I mean, given the industry in the county, that there are, well, obviously there have been emergencies related to problems at one place or another, but that's got to be something that you have to be prepared for.
Yes, definitely. We have a local emergency planning committee here in Floyd County, and all of our local industry is invited, and a lot of them are members, and we encourage them to come out to sit in on those meetings, and we talk about specific things that may affect the community, especially anything that could be like a hazardous material spill or things like that. And we discuss that, and we develop plans for that, and we actually we have a full-scale exercise every year, and it's usually dealing with some form of hazardous material.
Well, this is something I had not even considered before you came on the show, but what does it take for an incident to become an emergency that qualifies for something you have to step in or be concerned about? I mean, how big does an accident have to get to become an emergency?
Well, it's hard to say how big it has to get, because usually they will let me know small things, like say if we have an accident and there's diesel or something like that on the road, then they'll let me know, just to kind of give me a heads up. Now anything major, like if we have a rail car or a tanker truck that turns over, and we have to send out our hazmat team, which is through our fire department, then they would in turn let me know if we had an issue, and then I would just kind of monitor the situation and again forward that information along to the Georgia Emergency Management Agency, just to let them know what we've got here locally, and then they'll say, if you need anything, let us know, but just keep us informed of what's transpiring. So that's what we do. It's kind of hard to say at what level we actually activate, because we try and monitor the situation before it gets completely out of hand.
So do y'all make that determination if it's an emergency, or is it comes down from the state? I mean, who makes the determination that something is an emergency?
Okay, that determination is made. We have a few categories that we can look at. Any type of incident involving an evacuation is an emergency.
Yeah.
And then at that point, then I'm notified. Okay, and then I have to start coordinating with the Red Cross, with GEMA, and also coordinating with the fire department or police department, whatever the lead agency is. And then we'll go ahead and we'll start setting up our evacuation shelter positions that we have located throughout the county. Then we'll identify where the accident is or the incident is, and then that will give us an idea of where we need to locate our shelter. So we go ahead and we open it at that point, and then we get that information out to the media so they can get it out to the public, and we'll start coordinating the actual evacuation. If that, if we need to bring in, buses or things like that, then we can go ahead and start coordinating that and get that set up.
Well, I know you got a lot of weather questions, but I'm thinking back to Katrina.
Yes.
And clearly, it looks like if they had a plan that it wasn't followed, because it seemed like a lot of things from the outside. It seemed like a lot of things broke down.
Exactly.
And I'm wondering, is that part of it? Because if you never have, or if you don't have emergencies, or people could get kind of lax.
Exactly.
Just the whole logistics to things with the buses. Just having buses available to get people out. So with incidents like that, is that something that y'all are constantly kind of preparing for and thinking about? Is that because when an accident happens, it's not like you can plan for it.
Exactly.
It happens, and so then the plan it really becomes the most important thing. How do we interact? How do we activate this plan? Exactly.
And it's funny you brought up Katrina, because that was actually the first major incident that myself and our past director, Scotty Hancock, we'd actually worked there. He actually had the opportunity to go and help out in Mississippi, and I was here to take care of things here locally, and we did not expect that specific incident to actually affect us here locally. I mean, we started planning, for things, and I remember we were actually monitoring on TV when Katrina made landfall. So we had plans in place, but we didn't think that we would actually have to deal with the issue here, especially with storm surge and things like that, because we weren't going to deal with that. What we were looking at was the rain bands that would be coming off of the hurricane. And our biggest fear was that we would get one of those bands that would just kind of stall out over our community, and then we start dealing with potential floods. And of course, you always have to deal with the threat of possible tornadoes. So that was our biggest concern. And then once we started getting intel that they were going to start sending a lot of the evacuees from New Orleans and Mississippi, they would start heading this way. then we had to look at it totally different. Then we had to start making plans for what are we going to do if these folks start coming here. And then we started getting some conflicting reports saying, okay, you got some headed this way, we got buses, and so then we're scrambling trying to get a shelter opened up and prepared for them.
Well, we're coming up on a break here in a few seconds. So when we come back, we'll continue with more from our Director of Emergency Management. So stay with us.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We're talking with Tim Harrington, who is Director of Emergency Management for Floyd County. And right before the break, you were talking about Katrina and being prepared for one thing and having to deal with something else. But that makes me think about flood issues locally.
Right.
It has been a while, but even in the years after the levee has been in place, we've had flood issues.
Yes.
I don't remember the year, but I remember when River Bend Mall flooded.
Yes, I remember that.
And that, I mean, we've had Eric Lindbergh on the show talking about, his concern about how with all of the new construction and, shopping mall parking lots and the water doesn't have as many places to go.
Exactly.
And so are we not kind of overdue for a flood event? I mean,
well, we actually have flood events fairly frequently, but they're just at a minor level. We've got a map at my office where we've actually identified a lot of the low-lying areas where we normally have issues with flooding. A lot of the streets out in the county that flood all the time, then we've got those identified. So once we get a report from the National Weather Service, because they do a weekly weather briefing every Thursday, then they will give us a report if we have a lot of rains or storms that are predicted for our area. Then we go ahead and we start identifying those areas. I would talk with our local public works, city and county public works, and they would in turn have their folks go out and start checking the drains to make sure that, especially right after the winter months going into spring, they've already been out checking drains, because we have experienced a lot of rain, coming out of the winter months. So they would start checking the drains and start clearing out the debris and everything from those drains, so that when we do start having a lot of rain, then our flooding will be kept to a minimum. And we do look at a lot of the areas where there is some new construction, where you have a lot of new houses and subdivisions being built, and we do get calls periodically from some of the citizens that let us know that they're having standing water in their backyards or things like that. So we do go out and we do take a look at that.
So I don't know. So I'm trying to get my head around all this. So I'm just thinking your job, where at moments there may be periods of no major incidents.
Mm-hmm. We had a nice day on Sunday.
Yeah.
So that was like a break for you.
But I'm wondering though, even during the nice times and nice weather, are y'all but still the constant updates?
Yes.
Because I'm thinking you're not looking presently. You
No.
always have to kind of be looking ahead of time. You know, like the
Yeah.
day is nice, but
Yep.
tomorrow
You have to,
we got this
'cause-
storm moving.
Exactly.
in.
We may be sunny on the East Coast, but then I'm looking at something coming in on the West Coast that has a potential of moving on us. It may be a few weeks away, but I still have to keep an eye on it.
That's what I'm thinking. Just the constant. It's almost like the weatherman. You constantly have to be
Yes.
updated of the changes that are going on. And then I'm thinking, just like with natural disasters, the man-made things. Like not too long ago, we had the Beckart incident, stuff like that. I'm quite sure y'all have to come out.
Yes.
So you have all these different forces, I guess, that you really are trying to keep a handle on.
Exactly. Exactly. And the weather is probably one of our biggest issues that we have to consider in emergency management. As I was saying, we were talking about it may be sunny here, and I'm having to look at, things coming out of the west, things coming up out of the Gulf, and you constantly have to monitor that. And then it's funny because someone had asked me a few days ago about a weather app for my cell phone, and I said, "Well, which one? I've got 5."
So which one you recommend?
Exactly. So, but I look at all 5 because for some reason, some of the apps and even some of the weather channels that you turn to, you'll get a different forecast. So I have to compare them all and then kind of look at the ones that are fairly similar, and then I think we'll probably go with that one until something changes. And then even with weather, once I send out the news releases, the weather constantly changes. I mean, every minute. Every second it changes. So I may send out something saying, "Oh, we're going to get a lot of rain," and then, 5 minutes later, it shifts, and we don't get anything.
And what about tornadoes? I know it seemed like the last couple of years, like just going up, like I don't think we've had any major here. I don't know, but I know like when I drive 75.
2011, we had one here.
But it's like we get close a lot though.
Yes. And you remember we had the one right before Christmas that went through the West Rome area. So we have our share. We're actually we're probably in the upper tier as far as tornadic activity.
I got one for you though. How often do we have earthquakes here?
Actually here?
Yeah.
We don't have them. We have them, but you don't really feel them. They're real minor because we're actually on a fault line.
Yeah,
and a lot of people don't know that we're on there. And they had one, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago, but we didn't feel it here. They had one, I want to say it was in Arkansas, if I remember correctly. But we didn't feel any effects here, but they happen all the time.
We're on a fault line here? Where is it?
I don't know the exact
and through the county?
Yes, we're on it.
Wow.
I know it's been a while ago, but I remember being in bed and feeling, and you jump up, you think, what, you know, because you don't think of it, you never hear about an earthquake, and then, you start doing the research, you find out that we actually are on a fault line.
Yeah, we're on a fault line. And then I remember, it may be the same one that you're thinking about, because the earthquake happened early in the morning. And it felt like, the whole house was shaking, and then all of a sudden, it just stopped. And you were left wondering, what was that? And it took a while before everyone to figure out it was an earthquake.
It's like you haven't been prepared or exposed to
it. You don't think about that as far away as we are, but we are actually on a fault line. So we do get.
So y'all even have to be, I guess that's not high on the list, but that's
but it's still a probability. Yeah, so our hazard mitigation plan, we have to look at everything. We have to look at forest fires. We have to look at snowstorms. We have to look at tornadoes, floods, and earthquakes, and man-made disasters as well.
Well, let's get back to tornadoes. We went too quickly.
Okay.
I know, at least it seems to me, that this area is kind of difficult in that when you see the footage of tornadoes in the Midwest, you can see them.
Yes.
You can see them from far away,
Exactly.
but here because of the terrain and the, you know, they could be on you.
Yes, they could
without any warning, really.
Exactly, and a lot of areas, and I actually lived out west for a while. I was stationed in Oklahoma, and we used to see them all the time. You could see for miles, and they didn't call them tornadoes; they called them twisters when I was out there, and they had a lot of the sirens. And I think the biggest question that we get asked a lot in this area is, where are the tornado sirens? But with our terrain the way it is, it would cost us a fortune to put outdoor warning sirens on there. And then you have to understand the purpose of the outdoor warning sirens. They are designed to warn you if you're outside. So if you're inside your house and you're asleep, you probably won't hear it. So that's why we had to look at what would be the best warning device that we could use for our community to alert the greatest number of people. And we decided to go with the Code Red alert system. And of course, we still have the NOAA weather alert radios, and that's a backup as well that we can use. And we do have in keeping with the weather, we do have our new cell phone app that we just launched about a couple of months ago, and that's been doing really well. We were able to put out a lot of useful information during the snowstorm using that app, and we were able to keep the public apprised of what the public safety folks were doing. We were able to put out information about specific roads to try and avoid. And it worked out really, really well. We were able to also communicate with the local media, and they assisted us in getting the word out to the public. And I think that lessened the impact of the second storm that we had here. And I remember we were sitting in the briefing with the National Weather Service, and they were showing the prediction for the snowstorms that was coming in, and I remember that they identified us as having 6 inches of snow, and I thought, God, that's got to be a misprint.
But it wasn't.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
Well, we could probably do a show just on those storms.
Yes.
I know tornadoes are frightening, and for good reason. There have been some massive ones in the last few years, and so maybe you'd be willing to come on with us again to talk some more about that, because we're almost out of time, and it's we just get started.
Yeah, we just scratched the surface.
Hey, but he's the director. He can put in his schedule to come back. So he's the director.
Well, we're going to take a brief break here. When we come back, we'll finish up. So stay with us.
$7,000 high school students drop out every school day. That's a line of desks more than 4 miles long. We can keep students in school. Visit boostup.org and take the first step.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We've been talking with Tim Harrington, who is Director of Emergency Management for Floyd County. And Tim, we got a few seconds. Why don't you go ahead and tell folks where they can get the apps you mentioned?
If you've got an iPhone, then you can download the app at the App Store, and if you'll click on that and then just type in Floyd County EMA, then it'll pop up, and it's absolutely free. And we are really, really proud of it. We've had over 6,000 folks have picked it up already. For your Android phones, if you'll go to Google Play, you can download the app from Google Play as well. You'll enjoy it. A lot of information.
Thank you. We're going to have you back soon, I hope.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for being with us. We'll see you next time on Community Watch.